The Name Jar by Yangsook Choi. Through the school bus window, Yunhai looked out at the strange buildings and houses on the way to her new school. It was her first day, and she was both nervous and excited. She fingered the little block of wood in her pocket and remembered leaving her grandmother at the airport in Korea. Her grandmother had wiped away Yunhai's tears and handed her an ink pad and a small red satin pouch. "Your name is inside," she had said. "My name?" Yunhai wondered. Again, she took out the red pouch to look at the wooden block with her name carved in it. She ran her fingers along the grooves and ridges of the Korean characters she pictured in her grandmother's smile. "Is that thing for show and tell?" a boy asked Yunhai, surprising her. Yunhai looked up as more kids leaned over. "No, it's mine," Yunhai answered, quickly putting the pouch back in her pocket. "Are you new here? What's your name?" a girl asked. "Yunhai," said Yunhai. "Une?" a girl asked, scrunching up her face. Uni," some kids chanted. No, Yunhai corrected. "It's spelled Unhei. It's pronounced Yunhai." "Oh, it's Yuhei," the boy said. "Like you, hey. What about hey you?" Just then, the bus pulled up to the school and the doors opened. Yunhai hurried to get I apologize, it lags just a little bit. There we go. Off. "Yuhei, bye-bye," the kids yelled as she left. Yunhai felt herself blush. Yunhai stood in the doorway of her new and noisy classroom, and she was relieved that the kids on the bus had gone to the other rooms, but her face still felt red. "Aren't you going in?" asked a curly-haired boy with lots of dots on his face. "You're the new girl, right?" he asked, cheerfully. Yunhai nodded, and before she could walk away, the boy took her hand and pulled her through the door. "Here's the new girl," he announced, so loudly that the teacher, Mr. Kokodas, almost dropped his glasses. Mr. Kokodas thanked him and greeted Yunhai. "Please welcome our newest student," he said to the class. "She and her family just arrived from Korea last week." Anytime there's a short delay, again, I apologize. It's kind of lagging a little bit, so the page will flip over in just a second. There we go. Last week. Unhai smiled broadly and tried not to show her nervousness. "What's your name?" someone shouted. Yunhai pictured the kids on the bus. I haven't picked one yet," she told the class, "but I'll let you know by next week." Mr. Kokodas showed her to her desk. She felt many round, curious eyes on her. "Why doesn't she have a name?" she heard someone whisper. "Maybe she robbed a bank in Korea and she needs a new identity," a boy replied. On the bus home, nobody teased her, but Yunhai kept thinking about her name. "How was school, Yunhai?" her mother asked. When she walked in, "Did you understand the teacher?" Unhai simply nodded. She unpacked her school bag and set the red pouch by a photograph of her grandmother. "I'm glad you're learning English well," her mother said. "You must study hard, behave nicely, and set good grades to show that you are a good Korean." "I will, Yunhai," replied Yunhai. But I think I would like to have my own American name," she said quickly. Her mother looked at her with surprise. "Why, Yunhai?" is a beautiful why? Yunhai is a beautiful name. Your grandmother and I went to a name master for it. But it's so hard to pronounce, Yunhai complained. I don't want to be different from all the American kids. You are different, Yunhai, her mother said. That's a good thing. Yunhai wrinkled her nose. Later that day, Yunhai and her mother went to the grocery shopping in their new neighborhood. They passed Fadil's Falafel, Tony's Pizza, and Dot's Deli. A big graffiti painted garbage truck roared like as a lion as it took off down the street. Nothing sounded or looked familiar, but they got to Kim's Market and the sign was in both English and Korean. Her mother picked up cabbage to make kimchi, Korean-styled spicy pickled cabbage, and other vegetables and meat. She also found some seaweed, Yunhai's favorite. For soup, um, I apologize. She found some seaweed, Yunhai's favorite, for soup. It made Yunhai smile. Just because we've moved to America, her mother said, doesn't mean we can't stop eating Korean food. At the checkout counter, a friendly man smiled at Yunhai. Helping your mother with shopping, he asked. Yunhai nodded. I'm Mr. Kim, he said. And what's your name? Yunhai, she answered. Ah, what a beautiful name, he said. Doesn't it mean grace? Yunhai nodded again. My mother and grandmother went to a name master for it, she told him. A grateful name for a graceful name for a graceful girl, Mr. Kim said as he put their groceries into bags. Welcome to the neighborhood, Yunhai. That evening, Yunhai stood in front of the bathroom mirror. Hi, my name is Amanda, she said cheerfully. Then she wrinkled her nose. Hi, my name is Lauren. Maybe not. Her smile turned down. Nothing sounded right. Nothing felt right. I don't think American kids will like me, she worried as she began to brush her teeth. Hi, ma nem I'd Shuzi, she said in the mirror with her mouth full of toothpaste. The next morning, when Yunhai arrived at school, she found a glass jar on her desk with some pieces of paper in it. Yunhai took one out and read it aloud. Daisy. That's my baby sister's nickname, but she said you can use it if you want, said Cindy, who sat next to her. Yunhai took out the rest of the paper. Tamala, she read. I got it from a storybook, said Nate. She was smart and brave. Yunhai nodded and folded another piece. Wednesday? Yeah, you came here on a Wednesday, said Ralph. Thank you for your help. A smile spread over Yunhai's face. Ralph quickly said, we'll put more names in it. You can pick whatever you want, whatever you like, or pick them all. You have the longest name in history. You'll have the longest name in history. At 3 o'clock, the bell rang for the end of the school day. Yunhai looked out the window and saw it was sprinkling. It's the same rain, she thought, but in a different place. She watched other kids leaving in groups. Hey, a familiar voice called out to her. Yunhai turned around to see the curly-haired boy again. I'm Joey, he said. And you? Don't you have any name? Yunhai thought for a moment. Well, I can show you, she said, and took out the red pouch. She pressed the wooden block on an ink pad and then stamped it on a piece of paper. This is my name stamp, she said. My grandma gave it to me in Korea. I can use it as signature when I open a bank account or write a letter. And whenever I miss my grandma, I use it to fill out a piece of paper. Want to try it? She offered the stamp to Joey, and he carefully inked the stamp and pressed it hard on the paper. The red characters gleamed against the whiteness. Wow, that's beautiful, Joey said. Can I keep the paper? Sure, Unhai said. And then the two of them shared her umbrella as they walked to the school bus. Every day, the jar got fuller and more names, and Unhai read them all. She found a few names like she liked Miranda, Stella, Avery. They sounded interesting. I hope you choose the name I put in, Marco told her at snack time. I've put in three more, said Ralph. Madison, Park, and Lex. They're my favorite street names. Maybe you should close your eyes and draw a name, Rosie suggested. Ralph frowned. That's silly. What if she doesn't like the name she draws? Well, we didn't get to choose our names when we were born, did we? Rosie argued. Everyone thought about this. When Unhai got home from school that day, her little brother ran and gave her a letter. It was from her grandma. She opened it quickly and it said, To my Unhai, I hope you are enjoying your new school and new friends. Be sure to help your mother and your little brother. Here the moon is up, and there the sun is up. No matter how far apart we are, and no matter how different America is from Korea, you are always my Unhai, your grandma forever. Unhai took out her wooden stamp and filled a paper with it. She thought for a long time in front of the bathroom mirror. On Saturday, Unhai walked to Mr. Kim's store. Mr. Kim was helping a customer, but he looked up and greeted her. Hi, Unhai. Hello, Mr. Kim, Unhai replied. She felt as if she was back in her old neighborhood in Korea. Hey, said the customer, turning around. It was Joey. Your name is Unhi? He asked her with his eyes wide open. Unhai looked quickly at Mr. Kim and then turned to Joey. She nodded slowly. Yes, it's pronounced Unhai. It means grace, Mr. Kim added. Unhai, Joey said slowly, and this time perfectly. It made Unhai smile. I'll have it ready for you tomorrow, said Mr. Kim to Joey. Thank you, Mr. Kim. See you Monday, Unhai, Joey said to her. He left before he could ask him why he was in the store. On Monday, Unhai came to the class early to look at the names one last time, but the jar wasn't on her desk. Instead, there was a single piece of paper. Paper with a name on it. Unhai slipped it in her pocket. Where's your name jar? Ralph asked as soon as she saw it was gone. I don't know, Unhai said. It wasn't on Mr. Kakato's desk or any other desk. And it wasn't on the counter. It wasn't on the counters or any of the shelves. As the kids arrived, they helped look. Soon, Mr. Kakatos came in, and Ralph shouted at him. The name jar is gone. The jar with all the names in it. Gone, Mr. Kakatos replied. With a look of concern, he asked Unhai, Did you get a chance to read all the names? Unhai nodded. She took a breath. I'm ready to introduce myself, she said. Unhai wrote her name in both English and Korean on the chalkboard. I liked the beautiful names and funny names you thought of for me, she told the class. But I realized that I liked my name the best, so I chose it again. Korean names mean something. Unhai means grace. Grace, grace, Inhai, shouted Ralph. Everyone tried to say it. Yin hai, uni, un hey. Unhai said her name again, slowly and clearly. Soon the kids began to say it better. Even Mr. Kakatis. They applaud Unhai's choice. It was named after a flower, Rosie whispered to Unhai. Lots of American names have meanings too, Mr. Kakatis reminded everyone. When the class was dismissed, Unhai heard her new friends say goodbye. Bye, Unhai. See you tomorrow. Goodbye, Unhai. Unhai said goodbye and looked around for Joey, but he was already gone. Unhai, Unhai, come downstairs. Mother called up to Unhai. Your friend is here. Unhai rushed down to see who she meant. There stood Joey, and in his arms was a name jar. The name jar. Where did you find it? Asked Unhai, breathlessly. Joey looked embarrassed. Well, I took it. But only because I wanted you to keep your own name, and you did. He reached in and pulled out the names. Do you want to keep them? He asked. Thank you. I'll keep them as a souvenir, Unhai said happily. She pulled out a piece of paper from her pocket. Do you want it back? Do you want this back? Joey grinned. You can keep it. I'll return the name jar to the class. Maybe you could put some Korean names in for us. Names with good meanings. I could do that, agreed Unhai. I've already got a Korean nickname, Joey said. Mr. Kim helped me choose it. Carefully, he pulled out a small silver felt pouch from his pocket. Then he took out a dark wooden stamp with a beautiful Korean characters carved sharply into it. He pressed it on the ink pad and then on the piece of paper next to her name. Chinku, read Unhai. That means friend. And Chinku smiled back. The end.